Hello there and welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video of mine you are seeing, then welcome. This video is just for fun. I personally love watching these videos to see what people think is actually worth their hard-earned money, and all of these products that I'm about to mention I purchased myself and I don't regret these purchases. I would purchase them 100% again. Some of them I have, some of them I had backups already that I've gone into, or if I lost any of these I would want them again in my collection. Now if you are on a no buy or a low buy, I'm sure you have products like this already in your collection, or if you like drugstore makeup instead, I am very much sure that you have something that is just as good as these products in your collection already. This is just for fun. I'm going to start with primers because that's where I begin with my makeup, and the first thing I want to mention is this from Saie. This is their Glowy Super Gel, and this one is in the shade Star Glow. Now I have just a little deluxe sample size here that I got with points on the Sephora website, but I have had two minis of this in the past because you can buy the mini and the full size, and I've gone through both of those. I would absolutely 100% purchase the full size. One reason why I've opted for the minis instead of the full size is simply because I have a lot of primers in my collection that I really need to get down, because primer is just one of those steps that I feel like is not completely necessary for me, but this is a product that I like because it's also like a multifunctional product as well. You can use it as a mix-in, you can wear it alone, you can wear it as a highlighter if that's what you like. You can use this in many different ways, but I love that it is so moisturizing. It feels like I'm applying an extra moisturizer on my skin with just a little bit of glow, and every product that I lay on top of it I know is going to look beautiful over the top. For me, the next step in my routine is lip prep. Now I love to use lip oils, lip balms, or lip plumpers for my lip prep, and I have talked about these two right here at quite length on my channel. If you have watched any of my videos in the past 2 months, more than likely you have seen me mention these two products. Or well, I say two products. It's the same product but two shades. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Big Lip Plumpgasm. I have the fair medium and the medium deep shades. This is such a lovely product. This is kind of like an icy spicy feeling on the lips, so if you don't like that then you probably won't like these, but I love them. They have the right amount of pigment that I really love. They don't plump my lips in the sense that they make them bigger, but for me they really fill in my lip lines, which is what I'm looking for, especially at the beginning of my routine. So by the end, when I'm applying my lip products, I feel like my products have a better chance of staying on my lips a little bit longer because I do have this product on in advance, and it just kind of smooths everything out, especially if you're going in with a matte lipstick like I am wearing right here today. I just find that having a product like this at the beginning of your routine is really helpful. I love this product. I would definitely purchase these again over and over and over. Now eyeshadow. I know that there's kind of a trend going around now where people aren't really wearing eyeshadow a lot. Now I haven't really been myself. It's not so much because of the trend as much as it is it's very hot where I live. It is extremely hot, and it's sticky outside. Like, it's very sticky in the air, it's very hot, and any eyeshadow I wear lately has just kind of gone into the creases of my eyelids a little bit more because my eyelids have been so oily, whereas normally I don't have that issue. So eyeshadow has been something that I've been kind of either avoiding or just wearing a one and done. So I wanted to mention my favorite one and done eyeshadow as well as an eyeshadow palette, because once cooler weather comes around I definitely want to be wearing more of my eyeshadow palettes. They are probably one of my favorite categories outside of blush. The first one I want to mention is from Merit. This is their Solo Shadow, and this one is in the shade Studio. Now I just really love this shade so very much. I think it is perfect for me and for my skin tone. It is absolutely perfect for just going over the lid, for canceling out any kind of discoloration I have on my lids, because I do have veins there. I'd say that it just kind of looks like a natural contour on my eye, or like a natural shade on my eye. It doesn't look too over the top if that's not what I'm looking for that day. It is so easy to work with. I also love the little brush that Merit sells separately with this product. I'm not saying you need the brush, but the brush is another thing that I really also love with this because it is dual-ended and it's perfect for applying this. This is what I have on my eyes today as like a base, and then I do have one of the shimmer shades from the palette I'm going to talk about over the top of that. But I really do like this Merit product, and I would definitely repurchase this. Studio is the shade that I probably would favor. I've never tried any of the other shades, but I feel like this is the one that is just perfect. I don't know if I even need to try any of the other ones because I found my perfect shade in this line. For eyeshadow palette, if you have seen some of my videos in the past with favorites, then you'll know maybe exactly which palette I'm going to mention. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude palette. I love this palette so very much. It is just kind of reflecting a little bit. I don't want it to mess up my settings. This is just the most beautiful, perfect palette in my collection. I never want to be without this palette. I would definitely run out and repurchase this immediately if I ever lost it, if something happened to it, because I always want this palette in my collection. This is a palette that when I just want something really quick and easy and simple, I reach for this if I am looking for a palette that particular day. I definitely have significant dip in this shade. I'm working on this shade as well. And what I love about this palette is that for me and for my preference, it's not a lot of depth to it. And that's really not what I'm looking for in my everyday eyeshadow looks. I don't add a ton of depth to my looks. So this shade right here, Silhouette, for me, I love to use it in my brows as like a brow powder, which is what I'm doing here today. So that way I know that I'm still getting use out of that shade, that it's not just completely going to waste. But this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. It is my most favorite palette in my collection, and I don't know if I'm ever going to try anything that beats this one, really, because I truly love this palette. It is so beautiful. Next up would be mascara. Now, I have a lot of favorites with mascara, and I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that it goes without saying that I believe that Kosas and Tower 28, all of their products to me are absolutely worth it, but I just did a video talking about only their two brands that went up this past Monday, so I don't want to mention them too much in this video, but just know I would 100% purchase any of their products over and over and over because they're that good too. But the reason why I bring that up is because I do like Tower 28's mascara, but since I don't want to dwell on them, this mascara right here is like the #1 mascara that I have tried so far in the high-end range. This is from Refi. This is their Lash Sculpt. This is in the black shade. They don't have like a brown or anything or any multiple shades. This is the one that has that really curved wand. It is very unique. It does take a little bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, it is so beautiful on the lashes. To me, it gives me the length I want, the curl I want, the separation. It gives you just such a really beautiful, fluttery lash. And I just, one coat and you are good to go with this one. At least for me, for my preferences, I find that one coat is all I need with this product. Now, this tube that I have right here is on its last leg, unfortunately. I will be having to put it in the empty soon, but I will definitely be repurchasing this mascara because I don't want to be without this one. Now, let me come in a little closer so you can see. Now, not on the lower lashes. I'm wearing a different mascara there, but I want you to see. Look at that. Look at that. But this is a beautiful mascara. It does not smudge. It does not flake on me. I have never had an issue with that whatsoever. And on the occasions when I do kind of poke my lid a little bit with it, because even now I am more used to the wand. I still sometimes poke a little bit. It's so easy. Once you let it dry, it just comes right off really easy with like a brush or anything. It's so easy to remove, and I don't struggle with removing it at the end of the day with my makeup cleanser. I find that it's just very easy to remove off my lashes. It's a perfect mascara, one that I never want to be without. The next thing would be foundation. Now, I do have several foundations that I really like that I have tried from high-end, but there is one in particular that I really do love. This is from Say. This is the Glowy Super Skin Foundation, and this one is in the shade 2. This is a beautiful foundation. To me, it is glowy, but I don't find on me that it's overly glowy. Like, I mean, of course, it's gonna have that. It's definitely not a matte foundation by any means, but I find that there's a difference in being glowy and then looking sweaty, whereas to me, this is the perfect amount of glow. At least for my skin type, I do have more of a combo skin type where I get a little oily in my T-zone and then the outside of my face is more normal. Sometimes it can be dry, but for the most part, it's normal. I love this foundation. Now, yes, I do get some shine breakthrough in here, but I don't find that it's an overwhelming amount. I think it's a beautiful foundation, and what I love about it, it is very lightweight. It's very serum-y, almost like it's very like a runny foundation, which of course you will be seeing some B-roll of me showing and swatching these products, so you'll see exactly what I mean in the B-roll footage, but I just think this is a lovely foundation. I believe this is like it's 40 something dollars. I still think it's worth every penny. I would purchase it again. I love the way it looks on my skin. It is perfect paired up with that Say Glowy Super Gel. That, like, using that as primer and then going in with this, I think is such a beautiful combo. I really love this. It's been one of my favorite foundations for a while, ever since I've tried it, and reusing it today, I fell in love with it all over again. I think it's so beautiful. It looks like, when I say it looks like your skin, I know that there is product there. I don't mean that you don't see the product. I mean that it looks like your skin in the sense that it's not going to hide the little imperfections on your face or any little marks or anything like that. It's going to let your real skin shine through. You can build it up, but I choose not to. That's just not the way I wear my complexion products, but I think it's such a beautiful foundation. It feels so lightweight on the skin. I love this one. Correctors was super easy. Now, I do love the Smashbox and Becca Under Eye Brightener, like the corrector. I do love that one. I think that one's really nice. However, after trying these two right here, I would pick these over that one because I just like the way these perform on my under eyes. This is from Cali Ray. These are their Hideaway Brightening and Hydrating Under Eye Serum Concealer, and I have the shade Full Sunrise and Pale Sun. I love these. This is definitely a serum concealer is definitely the right way to describe these. They feel so nice and hydrating on your under eye. They don't feel like very cakey or very heavy. One thing that I love about Pale Sun for my skin tone is that I can wear this shade all by itself. I don't have to go over the top of it with a concealer if I don't want to. It blends in just beautifully on its own, and it's perfect for those lightweight days where I don't really want a lot of makeup on my face. I just really, really love this product. Cool Sunrise is another one that I do like. Now, this one is not made for my skin tone. I believe this is made for medium skin tones. However, if I use a small amount, I find that it really does help my dark circles because sometimes they can be a little more pronounced any given day, and I find that a little bit of a deeper corrector will help cancel them out even more so than a lighter one. However, when I do go in with this one, I do have to put a concealer over the top. It's not a big deal, but I do like to mention that. But these are lovely, and this is glass, and I think that just adds to them being all the more worth it. I think these are just so lovely. If they have a shade, which I think this has a pretty decent shade range for correctors, if they have a shade you need or you're looking at, I don't think you'd be disappointed if you were wanting to try something like this out. Now, concealer. Of course, I love the Tower 28 and Kosas one. However, this one from Fenty Beauty, this is the We're Even Hydrating Longwear Concealer. Mine's in the shade 130W. I love this concealer. It is, to me, very long lasting on me. Now, does it crease on me a little bit? Yes. But all concealers do. I do have fine lines on my under eyes, but I find that the creasing is very minimal enough that it doesn't bother me. I feel like it doesn't look really bad. I feel that there are some concealers that can kind of look really rough on the under eyes by the end of the day, and I don't feel like this is one of them. And this is a perfect shade match for my skin, so it's not one of those really brightening concealers that I tend to accidentally end up getting too much, like I picked the wrong shade and it looks just really too stark on my under eye. This is a perfect match for me, and I love it. This is one that if I have any problem spots that I want to do some extra coverage on, I find that this is one that I like to go in and do that with. I have also worn this as like my foundation for that day. I just apply a little bit more, go in with my brush or a sponge, and I find that I like it that way as well. Definitely good for kind of like those low maintenance days where I just want to throw on something on my face just a little bit and then be out the door. I do really like this concealer. It's really lovely. For powder, I knew immediately which powder I was going to mention. This is one of the best powders I have ever tried, drugstore and high-end included, and this is from One Size. This is the Ultimate Setting Powder. Now, mine is in the Ultra Peach shade, which at first I was a little concerned about that, if it would be a little bit too dark on me, but it's not. It's really perfect, and what I love about it, it really blends in your under eye with your blush. I know a lot of people were doing that with those bright pink powders. I've never tried the One Size pink powder, but on me, I have tried the one from e.l.f. that's a pink powder. Sometimes that can leave a little bit of a cast on my skin. I don't know if it's because I do not have pink in my skin. I don't have a pink undertone. I don't have a cool undertone, and that might play a factor. This Ultra Peach is the most perfect shade. I love this shade, and I've also used the translucent version of this as well. I've gone through a mini of the translucent, and I purchased the Ultra Peach as soon as they launched new shades. It is just the most beautiful powder. It just blurs, it sets your makeup. Now, I have applied it today, but I've been outside some today, this morning. Like, it's a little bit later in the day when I'm filming this, and I do have some oil peek through, but not as bad as it would be if I wasn't wearing this powder. So this is a beautiful powder. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is bronzers. Now, I do have several cream bronzers that I really do like, that I feel are worth it. However, I just want to mention this one because I feel like this is the one in my collection that I would immediately run out the door and repurchase again if I lost it. It is beautiful on the skin. I am wearing it today, but I do have one of the powders. I'm going to mention it in a second over the top, but this is from Say. This is their Sun Melt Natural Cream Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Fair Bronze. I love this bronzer. It is the most, like they say, natural cream bronzer. It does. It looks like you just went outside and you got very naturally sun-kissed. It is so easy to work with. It is so easy to blend out. Beautiful on the skin, has really nice longevity to it. I cannot say anything bad about this product. And I do like that you get this nice little tub size of it, and I feel like it would take you probably a long time to go through it. I do have a pretty good dip in it. I know I have a long way to go before I'd ever hit pan, but it is a bronzer that is worth hitting pan and using up completely because it is so beautiful. I love bronzers that are a lot more natural on the skin. Bronzer is one of those products that, you know, if I'm in a rush, it is something I'll skip, but if I want to apply it, I want it to look a little more natural, and this one will give you that look. It is so beautiful. It's like a skin-like finish. Like, it just looks like a really nice, I don't know if satin's the right word. I don't know if that's the best word to describe it, but it just looks like you just got really sun-kissed outside. You spend time outdoors and the sun just lightly kissed you. That's what this product is for me. For powder, I have 3 here because I couldn't pick. Now, when I did my video where I was choosing products for if I had a more curated makeup collection, I picked 1 out of these 3. But since I'm talking about products that I feel like are worth the money, I wanted to give a few examples here. The first one is from Fenty Beauty. This one is the Sun Stalker Instant Warmth Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Into Sun. If you have fair skin and most bronzers pull too orangey on you or anything like that, try this bronzer. This is the most perfect bronzer I feel for fair skin. I don't think you could even be too heavy-handed with it. It is so lovely. I am wearing this over the top of that Say bronzer today, and it's such a beautiful bronzer. I wish that I had tried it sooner. It's been out for a long time, but I am super late with trying it. It is beautiful. If you want that really perfect bronzer for fair skin, I'd say give this line a try. Or not even if you have fair skin. No matter your skin tone, I would definitely give this line a try. If you have not tried this bronzer yet, but you're looking for a good bronzer, this is so, so, so beautiful. Now, the next one I want to mention is from Haus Labs. This is the Power Sculpt Velvet Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Light Level 1. Now, this one is one that you need to be a little more careful with it than the Fenty. It's still really easy to apply, but you can build this one up, I find, a lot quicker than that one, so you have to be a little bit more careful with the amount you apply, but I think this is a beautiful shade. I love the tone of this one for my skin tone. It does have like a raised H in the pan. I've worn away the H for the most part. I think this is such a lovely bronzer. It's so pretty. I just couldn't pick just one out of these 3 I'm about to talk about because these are 3 that I feel like if I couldn't have any other bronzers in my collection, these would be 3 that I know I'd want. And this is such a lovely, lovely product. And all of these are long lasting, by the way. All of them are very long lasting. They stay on the skin. Of course, I know they're powders, so I know creams can kind of, you know, fade. Some of them can, but with these powders, you don't have to worry about that at all. They layer beautifully over the tops of cream bronzers if that's what you're looking for. The next one is the one that I ended up picking for that more curated makeup collection, and this one's from Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Airbrush Bronzer, and this one is in the shade Fair, or One Fair. I think this is a beautiful, beautiful bronzer. And one reason why I picked this one over those other 2 in my more curated makeup collection, if I had one, is because this is one that you can put a pin here and you can pop out that pan. I think that kind of adds points to this bronzer versus those 2, whereas you can only have to buy this compact one time and then you can just keep refilling it as you're using up the bronzer. I do like that. I would love to see more brands start doing that. I feel like it would just make things so much easier for people just to buy the refill instead of having to buy the same product with the packaging and everything over and over and over. But this is a very expensive bronzer. However, you do get 0.56 ounces, which this is the most product out of the 3 I'm mentioning here, and I feel like unless this is your only bronzer, it probably would take you a while to go through this one. Now, this is kind of like the Haus Labs where this one can be quickly built up, so it's another one that I do try to be a little bit more careful when I'm using a brush and going in with it. I try to make sure that I'm using a little more of a fluffier brush and really tapping off the excess, but it's a beautiful bronzer. It's one that, again, that I wish I had tried so much sooner. Blush. I'm going to try to run through this category fairly quickly because I have a lot to go through. Just know that all of these are long lasting, they're beautiful in the skin, they are just, I have no complaints with any of them. So I'm gonna fly through these a little bit simply because I will be here all day. I love blush, I have a lot of it, I really enjoy it. Now I will say, I have more cream blushes in the high-end category than I do the powder blushes. So bear that in mind when I start mentioning some of the powder blushes. I have more drugstore blushes in the powder section than I do high end. Now, the first blush I want to mention is this one from Haus Labs. This is the Color Fuse Glassy Blush Balm, and I have mine in the shade Glassy Pomelo. This is beautiful, and what I love about this product, it is easy to build up if that's what you want, but you start out kind of slow. Like, it's very a lightweight blush. I don't find, at least not in this shade. I haven't tried any of the other shades. This shade is just very slowly buildable. Like, I don't feel like you could go in with too much at the beginning with this this one, like you can slowly work it up, which is what I like. Now, my favorite way to apply any cream blush and powder is with this Refi brush right here. This side that has more of these duo fiber bristles, I find that it is perfect for cream blushes and not applying too much product at one time, which is something that I try to avoid because I find that if I apply too much and it's really pigmented, I might sit there and panic blend. Whereas when I go in with this brush, I have a little more control with the amount. So I do recommend this brush, and then I like to use this side for cream bronzer. But I mean, the brushes aren't really necessary, but I just wanted to mention how I like to use my cream blushes. But this I really love. I definitely want to look at more shades because one thing is it feels like it's a really nice, easy to work with buildable formula, and I know that I would probably love any shade in that type of formula. The next two blushes that I want to mention are from Merit. These are their Flush Balm blushes, and I have Cheeky, which is what I'm wearing today, but I do have a powder blush over the top, and then I have the shade Stockholm. These are so beautiful. Now, my favorite way to apply these is to really rub the product on the back of my hand and then go in with that Refi brush and pick up the product and then pat it on my skin. You can take these and swipe it on your cheek if you want. I don't really like to do that myself because I'm always afraid that I'm going to pull up like my foundation or anything that I have on underneath. So my favorite way is to apply this on the back of my hand and then go in with a brush. Or you could take the brush and just rub right onto the little stick. I guess this is kind of like a stick. But I think these are so easy to work with as well. You can really slowly build the pigment up, which is what I love in a cream blush. I don't want to panic blend. So I love formulas like this that are so easy to work with. Now here's one I would definitely love to have more shades in. This is from Refi. This is their cream blush, and this one is in the shade Rose. Now this is such a beautiful, delicate shade. If you have really fair to light skin, I think you would really enjoy this shade. For anyone who has a deeper complexion, you might could build it up a little bit more on you. I'm not sure, but I like to keep my blushes more soft, so I can't speak for intense pigmentation when it comes to really building up a blush, but I do love this one. I would really love to try some of the other shades as well in this line. I think this is so lovely, and this is definitely one that I love to take this brush with. It's just a really darling blush. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just a really easy to work with formula. This is one too that you can definitely use a sponge or your fingers as well, just like with the other ones I mentioned, and it's really easy to apply. Now this one is from Lawless. This is the Pinch My Cheeks Soft Blur Cream Blush, and this one is in the shade Angel. That shade is so darling and delicate, and I just don't know if there's even more of a perfect shade. I would love to look at some of the other shades in this line, but until then, this is just a beautiful, perfect, everyday shade for me. And this formula is another one that it is super easy to work with. It looks really beautiful. It builds up very nicely, and it lasts. I find that every time I wear it, it does last pretty decent amount on my skin, but now, mind you, I am in a temperature controlled environment for the most part all day long, so I'm not someone that is really outdoors a lot. I try to avoid the heat as much as I possibly can, so do keep that in mind while I am talking about the longevity of these cream blushes. I'm not really giving them a fight because I tend to stay indoors all day long. Now the next one, you get like 2 for 1. You get a cream and a powder. This is Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blush. This one is in the shade Not Too Much, which I find to be the most beautiful combo for every single day. And one thing I like about this shade, this one has a little less pigment than some of the other blushes in his line, so if you're someone that you're not really too strongly into pigment, like too much at one time, you might really like this shade. But now it definitely does have pigment. I don't want that to sound like it doesn't, but I find that this one is easier to build up versus the other ones. You have to be very careful from the moment you put your brush in. You can have a little bit more leniency with this one, and this is such a beautiful shade. I have other shades of his in my collection, but this one would be my absolute favorite. I think this is a beautiful, perfect blush for every day. And with this, I think they're also a little bit more worth the money because you get the cream and the powder. You get 2 for 1, so if you want to use both one day you can, or one or the other you can, so I do like the versatility. And one thing that's really nice, he has so many shades in his line, so I feel like there is a blush for everyone out there. Okay, we're going to move on to powders. Now here's where I feel like I have more drugstore powder blushes than I do high-end. It goes without saying that the Kosas Baked blushes would definitely be ones I would recommend. I think those are beautiful, but since I really just talked about those in my last video, I'm going to skip them. I'm not going to talk about them in this one like at full length. So this one is from Bare Minerals. This is their bronzer in the shade Kiss of Pink. This one would be my favorite out of the bronzers. I have 3 of the shades. I believe they have like 5 or 6 of them now, but the only one that I would repurchase is this one because I find that this one is so beautiful beautiful on my skin tone. It's perfect. And this is one that does have like some glow to it as well. So if you're into really glowy blushes, then I think this would be a perfect choice as well. Now, as far as this shade being a bronzer on me, no. I do know that they have more of a brown shade in this line. That probably would look like a bronzer, but for me, I consider this just a blush. I don't consider this shade a bronzer, at least not for my skin tone, but nonetheless, it is a beautiful shade. It's always been a favorite of mine. I haven't reached for it in quite a while because I try blushes so much, but I would definitely like to get some more use out of this one because it was once a favorite that I would wear almost on a daily basis. So I always want to mention this one too. Now, this next one is one, unfortunately, this brand is no longer sold on the Sephora website, but you can buy them from their website, of course, and I believe they also are available on Amazon. This is RMS Beauty. This is the Redimension Hydra Powder Blush, and I have mine in the shade Maiden's Blush. This is a beautiful blush shade. I don't know, it's just a really perfect shade. I would love to see some of the other shades they offer, but honestly, if this is the only one I can have in my collection, this is so beautiful. I don't know what it is about this shade. It looks like what you'd call almost like a vintage rose, a vintage rouge color. I don't know if that's the best way to describe this blush, but it's so lovely. I hate that they're not available on Sephora anymore because I feel like maybe that might be why some people might not talk about them as much, simply because they're not just easily accessible right there at Sephora, but I believe they are on Amazon, and of course you can purchase them from their website, but this is such a lovely blush. It's one of my favorites, so I definitely wanted to mention it. The next blush I have 4 shades. I believe there are 6 in total, and it's definitely one that I would love to have all of the shades. It's from Too Faced. These are their Cloud Crush blurring blushes, and these just have like the cutest packaging, and I love that the outside matches the blush on the inside. Now, over the top of that cream blush that I'm wearing from Merit, I'm wearing the shade Velvet Crush. I mean, this is so beautiful, and they have a really nice scent to them. I don't know how to describe the scent, but it's not unpleasant. I think it's a very just soft scent, and I don't smell it once it's on my face, but I wanted to mention that because if you are sensitive to fragrances in your complexion products, I wanted to bring that up. But these are beautiful. This is definitely a range that I would love to have the last 2 shades because I believe there's only 6 and I have these 4, but they're so pretty. And of course, I don't know if that bubblegum pink shade is still very viral, but they do have that in this range. So if that was a shade you were loving, they have one for you. I think these are just so soft, and they just look like they say, like, I think they call them blurring blush. Yeah, blurring blush. That's a really good way to describe them. And they're so easy to apply. They're very pigmented. They're just smooth. I think they're just really lovely. Too Faced really did a good job on these, and I do love the packaging. I just think it's so cute. It definitely drew me in, and I'm glad it did because I do really love these. The only brow pencil that I've tried from high end that I would say would be worth the money that I'd want to keep repurchasing is the one from Kosas. I think that is just a really nice brow pencil. I don't have it currently because it is an empty, so I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but it's a perfect match for me. But the brow gel, yes, of course, I like the Kosas Air Brow Gel. I like that one, but I do like this one from Refi. This is their brow sculpt. It's just in the clear. This is the one that has like the little brush part here on the end of it. Now, I don't fully laminate my brows anymore, but I love to kind of fluff up my brows, especially in this beginning portion here. I like for those hairs to be a little bit more up because sometimes they want to go that way and make my brow look a little bit, well, just not the way I want them to. I do love this one. I know that e.l.f. Cosmetics has a dupe for this, and I do like that product as well, but this is one that I still do love regardless of the dupe, and that's why I wanted to mention it. This is my 2nd tube of this product. I have already gone through 1 full tube, and I would repurchase it. I think it's just that good. I do like the e.l.f. one. I think the e.l.f. is an amazing alternative as well if you are not wanting to pay Refi prices, but if you are, I think this is a lovely brow gel, and I will repurchase it. I definitely will because I do really like it. Next would be my lip liners. Of course, I favor my Tower 28 My Kosas, but I really love the Rare Beauty lip liners. These are the Kind Words matte lip liners, and if you watched my video where I was swatching all of my lip products, you know that one of the shades, I couldn't get it to twist up. I don't know exactly what happened to it, but when I was twisting them up today to look at all of the shades, it worked again. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad it did work, but I had planned to repurchase that shade for sure, so these are ones that I would repurchase. I think these are lovely liners. Yes, they are matte, but they are very comfortable on the lips. I think they are worth it. I would love to have all the shades except for maybe the red. I don't wear red lipstick, and I know I'd never use that red shade, so the other more like nude shades, I would definitely love to have all of them because I think this is a very lovely formula. It's very long lasting on the lips, very comfortable, and just really easy to apply, so they are really nice lip liners. The next 2 would be from Too Faced. These are their Lip Injection Extreme Lip Shapers. I have 2 different shades here. Like I have 2 different nude shades, and I really do like this because because it does, if you fill in your lips with this, it does fill out the lip lines. It stings. I find that they don't sting me as bad as they used to. I don't know if it's just the older they get, the less they're going to do that, or if I've just gotten used to it. When I first bought these and applied them, they sting. To me, the stinging was worse than the gloss, the lip injection gloss, but I mean, you know, hey, it doesn't bother me one bit. I love lip plumpers, and the fact that there are now lip plumping liners, I'm all for it. I do love these. I would like to have more shades of this as well, and these are those like click up kind. So you click these up, and I like them both. I like both the shades I have, so I definitely want to see what other shades they offer, but I do like both of these. But if you don't like the stinging, you definitely won't like these. And last, this is the lip liner that I am wearing today, but now I am wearing a lipstick over the top of it, but this is from Freck Beauty. These are their Makeout Club Nude Muse lip liner, and this is in the shade 1. I only have one shade. I would love to have more because I think this is a line that has really beautiful shades. I would definitely this is shade 1. I don't know if each shade is like shade 2, 3, 4, but if so, I'd like to just keep going up the line and have them all because this is a really, really long-lasting liner. It glides really easily on the lips, but it lasts. That is one thing that I really love about this one. I mean, with the others as well, you apply this and it's going to last you a very long time. But I think that's one of my most favorite things about it is just how long it lasts, because I know I do have some lip liners that they fade, which is fine. I'm not, that concerned about it, but it is nice when you find one that is really long wearing, and this one definitely is. I have some high-end lipsticks that I really do love, but this one that I'm about to mention here, I have 2 shades. This is beautiful. These are $50 lipsticks, so I'm glad that I do love them, but I also hate that I love them. These are the Westman Atelier Lip Suede Matte Lipsticks, and I have the shades PK and Lacquer. PK is the one that I'm wearing on my lips today. These are so beautiful. They are matte lipsticks, but they are a very comfortable matte, and one thing that I love, this is heavy packaging, and if you look on the bullet of the lipstick, I don't know how well you're going to see it when I'm showing you right here, but I will be showing you some like close-ups and everything. There are the cutest little parts like placed on the little lipstick bullet, and I think that just adds such a nice touch. But these are really, really, really nice lipsticks. Now they are a little bit more on the chunky side, so if you have any of those lipstick like the acrylic holders, they're not going to fit, or they don't fit in the ones that I have, but they're beautiful. Now the shade Lacquer, I don't like that shade on its own on me. I just find that it's a little bit too light for me. It kind of washes me out a little bit, but I like to apply it in the center of PK or wear it with a deeper lip liner, and then it's a perfect shade. But this is a line that I would love to have pick up some more shades. I know there is one in particular that I would love to get my hands on, but these are expensive. They're very expensive, but I do not regret not one bit spending that money on these. They are beautiful lipsticks. Long lasting because they are matte lipsticks, but they're not an uncomfortable matte, which is what I love. Lip gloss, of course the Tower 28 ones, but I love this one from Lawless. This is the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss, and the one in particular is glazed. What I love with this one is applying it over the top of a lipstick, because this has like a beautiful, really shimmery base to it, and it just adds like a beautiful shine to your lips. Now, I'm not wearing it right here because I knew that I'd be doing a lot of talking, and I would have had to constantly probably reapply it because I would have worn it away, so I just wanted to keep my lips matte while I was doing this part of the video. But this is a really lovely shade. I do have some more nude shades in this line, and they would be more of shades I would use for lip prep, but I have used them as well with a lip liner, and they're equally as beautiful. I think this line of glosses from Lawless are really nice, and don't let the plumping scare you away if you're not into plumping. This is more of like a cooling effect on the lips. They definitely don't sting or burn, at least not for myself, but these are really lovely glosses, so I definitely wanted to mention them. In particular, this glazed shade. I really do love that shade as a topper. And this next one is another one that I wish I had tried sooner, because these have been raved about for a very long time, for many years, but the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bombs. Now, this one is in the limited edition shade, the Major Flex, which has that cute little smiley. I believe she collabed with Fans, I want to say, on this lip shade. I don't know if she'll make it permanent. I think she should, because it is a really pretty shade. It's unique. They call it like a gunmetal shade. That kind of scared me away at first, because I didn't know if on my skin tone, if that would make me look deceased. It doesn't. Once you really place it on your lips and sheer it out, it just looks almost like a cool tone clear, if that makes sense, with some sparkle in it, and I really think it's a beautiful shade. This shade aside, because this is limited edition, I would love to try another shade in this, like maybe one more of a nude shade, because I really love the way this feels on the lips. It's very nice and comfortable, and it doesn't give you those little lines like when you talk and after you apply it, and I like that, because some glosses can do that, and I don't like that. I don't have that issue with this one, so I would love to look at some more shades in this line. I wish I had tried it so much sooner. I definitely understand why people love these so much. Last but not least is setting spray. Now, Now, setting spray is one of those things where I don't really apply it after all the makeup is done. I love to spray my sponge or brush or whatever I'm using to apply like my foundation, my concealer. I like to spray it then and then really press in my product because I find that that just really melts everything together nicely and keeps everything in place. But I really love this setting spray from Charlotte Tilbury. Now I just have a mini. This is the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray, and this is nice. First of all, it has a really nice scent. I love the scent of it, and I think that it just melts your makeup together so beautifully. I know this is a very hyped up product for good reason. In my personal opinion, I think it is so lovely. Honestly, I'd be fine with having this setting spray and that be the only setting spray I have in my collection going forward because, well, actually I think it is the only setting spray I have in my collection currently, and I'm fine with that. I would repurchase this one. I would repurchase the full size. I'm hoping that during the holidays when they start bringing out some sets, I know last year you could get like a duo with the Flawless Setting Spray, like for a little bit more of a discounted price. I might do that. If they bring it out this year again, I might pick up that duo. I think that this is a really nice setting spray, and I definitely, now that I've used it, I don't want to be without it. There you have all of these products that I've mentioned here. I love every single one of them. I would repurchase them many times if need be because I think they are worth the money that they cost. I do love them. I find that they work very well for my skin type, for my skin tone. I think these are just perfect products. And like I said again, this video is just for fun. I am definitely not telling anybody that you need these products, that you need to run out right now and buy them. No. I just love these types of videos because I like to see what people think is worth the money. And maybe there's something that they like that I've never tried before, and maybe it's something one day that I want to give a shot. I do hope that you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I hope you will please consider leaving a like, a comment, or subscribing if you haven't already, and hit the little bell icon so you are notified of all my future uploads. Follow me on Instagram at jessicadeerly, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!